Welcome back. We are so glad that you are able to join us. We wanted to take a moment to say thank you and to let you know we are so grateful for you. We have enjoyed our last day in Pittsburgh at the Pitts Conservatory. But now it's time to say bye to the Steel City and to start our new journey to a new destination where we are be looking for our future sail vessel to explore and to experience life in a whole new way. Stay tuned.
Of course, you're a broker for boats, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a lot of Malaysian sailboats?
Since COVID, the market's been extremely tight. Not a lot of people have put their boats on the market, and there's so many people buying, it's hard to find inventory. Kind of like the housing and the cars and everything else.
Yeah.
We thought it would slow up by now and we'd have more inventory, and it really hasn't happened.
So we're looking for a sailboat. Well, of course, a catamaran will be great, but it's still realistic to find a really good catamaran and a nice price.
Yeah,
I really hate how there's carpet. So,
That what? Sorry?
just a cosmetic thing. I said I really hate how there's carpet, but it's because it's an older boat, right?
Well, even the new ones are doing it, for sound insulation and all that. But now what a lot of people do will pull the carpet up and put that vinyl teak, the faux teak
Yeah.
down.
The ultimate goal it's blue water, right?
Like live aboard, and
Mm-hmm.
and it would just be us
And
the
two dogs.
majority of the time. So we'll be single-handed. Everything will have to be set up in the cockpit. We have 2 large dogs, which kind of makes it hard. But we are currently in a 20-foot RV right now. We
Mhm.
sold everything in California. Our max absolute top that we want to spend on the boat would be 90. So that way we have the vague little wiggle room for a survey
Right.
and anything.
Yeah, and the problem you have is this is pretty much what you see in this price range.
I know.
You know,
Cats
this
are
vintage.
So expensive.
The cats are really expensive, and the problem you're
Right.
going to have with the monohulls with the dogs is it's such a steep stairway down to the lower cabin.
I know. We were thinking we'll have to install different steps for them.
A seaplane.
Definitely would need some tender love and care.
Yeah, they mostly there were 2 guys. One guy was electrically oriented. He redid all the electric, which is very impressive. Other than I told him he's got to put a cover on that for ABYC standards. You're not allowed to have all those connections exposed. But he wasn't into redoing wood or any of the soft goods or anything.
Well, it's okay. That's the one thing I actually know how to do. Enough of it to make it look pretty and seal it. I don't know about this fiberglass.
Mhm.
I don't know about that. To seal the cracks and stuff.
Yep.
I would have to look into that. I'm not sold on it, that's for sure.
Well, I kind of like how open it is, but at the same time, then you miss a lot of space in the rest of the.
Yep. Yeah, it's a real compromise because you get this area to work in, where you don't get that in a monohull, but you give up the staterooms being in the pontoon, in the hulls.
Yeah.
So other than the master up there, but
And we were looking. It was a Catalina.
Mhm.
Catalina. It was
Oh, the two that were in this area?
uh-huh.
One was a Catalina 330, and then the other one was a Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
And the
Those
layout's
smaller.
So neither one of those are real blue water boats. I mean, you can do it on a good day, but you know, they're not built to really do like a transatlantic or anything like that. They're more coastal cruising. Very comfortable boats. You know, that especially the Hunter tends to be a big beamy boat. It's a great live aboard. You know, very, very popular like here on the bay and going down to Florida and all. But if you're really going to do blue water, then, you know, it's a little tougher. But then the problem is you get into these boats that are much smaller in volume. They're more seaworthy. So you might have like a Cape Dory or something like that, you know, maybe a double ender type thing.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get the volume. So it's not as comfortable to live on. You know, you feel more cramped. So.
All right. Well, I wanted to see it because it's probably one of the only ones we've seen in our price range.
Yep.
Because it's really rare, and see what it might just be worth it. I mean, better just to do the monohull, even though we don't want to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you can find some older Ericssons and Pearsons and things like that clear down in the 20s and 30s. They need work, but if you're willing to do the work, then
that's probably. I mean, we are not extremely knowledgeable about.
We're just newbies, just following our dream while we can.
Part of the advices that I've been listening is buy one that's already kind of ready.
then it's going to be, you
Like
know, the
just
price
put
is going to keep going up. That's the problem.
Yeah, as long as honestly, I'd be comfortable between 60 and 80. I mean, I saw one that was right under 100,000, and of course, it's really tempting. It's 49 feet. The only thing for me was the owner cabin wasn't like center, so it could have been a little better, but it had a whole engine room.
Mm-hmm.
So you know things are going to break, and that would give him the space so he's not miserable his whole life on there fixing everything.
Have you looked into insurance?
No, we haven't.
Yeah, so and you haven't owned a boat before?
No.
Yeah, you will not get insurance on a 49 footer. I can guarantee. So we're in what's called a hard insurance market because of the hurricane season, and it's going to happen again. And because of claims in general, they had some major marina fires. Like there was one in Ohio or Michigan, took out like 400 boats.
Oh.
And what I explained to everybody is it's not just the pleasure market, but you know that ship that was out in the Atlantic that had all the real high-end cars that caught on fire and sank?
Mm-mm.
It was like out near the Azores, and it had all these Lamborghinis and all, you know, huge, big money cars.
I try to tell people from being in the Navy, fires is what takes down boats.
Oh, yeah.
So
Well, this thing sank, and it was a massive claim. It all goes to the same reinsurance market. You know, there's only one reinsurance market. It's all these investors out of London, and they insure the insurance companies. And so they're suddenly getting hit the last couple of years with these major claims. So a lot of the insurance companies left the marine market, and there are only a few left. And they're losing money, so they've cut back on what they'll insure. So on the boats, they're looking at, it started 40 years and older, then they went to 30 years and older, then they went to 20 years and older that they wouldn't insure. There one or two would say, well, if it's in really good shape, we'll do it. But then on the buyer side, they are really strict about your ownership experience. We used to be able to take someone like yourselves and hook you up with a captain and say, train with this guy or gal,
exactly.
you know, for X number of hours, and they sign off that you're capable of running the boat. They haven't even accepted that recently. And so they're saying, we don't want to insure anybody for more than 10 to 12 foot larger than the largest boat they've ever owned. So we've got people that have owned 20 some foot boats and want to buy a 50 foot boat, and they can't, but they've owned that boat for all their life and have all this experience. So they haven't let them move up. And then we had new clients, you know, that wanted to get into boating. Literally, I had 2 or 3 of them that went and bought the cheapest, nastiest trailable 20, because usually it's about 26 foot, like at Progressive, State Farm, Allstate, that they'll insure you with no survey and no background in boating. And they would park it in their yard and wait for 6 months to a year, and then they'd move up into the 30s, 12 foot bigger. You know, never used the boat, but you know, so it's tough right now. So I would recommend you look into insurance and see what your options are. Because you could end up looking at a ton of boats that you can't get insurance for. And you got to have insurance to get in the marinas or in the boat yards. Yeah, you can go anchor out, but you got to come in at some point,
Yes, majority of what we're gonna do is gonna anchor out.
right? But at some point, you've got to come into the marina either to pump out or water or fuel or something, So they're pretty strict about it, unfortunately.
So you can't buy a boat without insurance.
You can buy it, but you won't have anywhere to put it.
Right.
And
you have
again,
to immediately hop on it, go, and if you want gas, you have to dinghy in. If you want water, you have to dinghy in.
yep.
That's another thing that we're looking for. One, we're trying to get a one with a ready water maker.
Yeah. Okay. And it'll work in some areas. You got to make sure that you're in a clean area because it doesn't sanitize water; it just converts. It's a desalinization plant.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So
it wouldn't be necessarily for drinking, but we'd have to get a filter or they have a lot of different systems for that.
Yep.
All right. Well, in
So
this
one
price
like
range, I
this
don't
right
think
now,
I'd
we
want
probably
this.
even wouldn't be able to.
You'd struggle. There might be a company who's willing to do it, and they change constantly. They constantly. I'll find a company who says no, and then 2 weeks later they say to one of my customers yes, and or the rate will be much higher sometimes. So,
Well,
I see.
I don't know. To be honest, I thought it would feel more spacious, even at this size, because it's a cat.
well, but they try to keep the beam short because of
Yeah.
slips and availability. That's in the marinas. Some of the big cats that are down in the Caribbean are great. They give you huge room, but they're for the Caribbean. They're not for up here because you can't find places to dock them.
I see.
Okay. I'll have to call USAA and see what they say.
Yeah, USAA. That's a good
what
choice.
I mean, that's who we had our homeowners,
Yep.
our cars are in there, our RVs in there.
You might be okay. They'll oftentimes
Yeah,
bundle
I'm in the
for you.
Navy, so maybe
Right, well, they have to. They won't let anybody else go with USAA. I send a lot of clients there who have any family member who have military qualified. And they usually use Markel and Progressive. So they're using the same insurance companies, but they do push pretty hard to try to get the members. 34 foot isn't so outrageous, but 49 you'll really struggle.
So what size was this one?
34.
So for 34, this is very spacious. Because when we did our lesson, it was on a monohull, and I think it was a 35 foot, and it was just so small.
Yep.
I don't even know what the beam was. It was probably like 10.
Okay.
It was so
yeah.
tight.
Yep.
I'm gonna call them see them.
This one even have a dinghy. Oh, wait, no,
Yeah, I do, and electric motors down in storage and underneath here.
Built-in davit. Are they called davits even when they're
Yep.
low like that?
So we're done seeing that catamaran. It's a Gemini, 1995. You guys see how much room it have? It's not too big, but it looks like it needs some work. You can see right over there. But as of right now, it's probably not the right one. We're probably gonna keep looking till we find the right one. In the meantime, see you later, guys.